a lot of sports give you a lot of things. I'm definitely going to push my son to play sports because there's the connection. There's so many different levels of things that help you with life that have gotten me to where I am. I'd hire if I found out somebody played football in the past or any other athlete, they were an athlete in the past for a long time, I'd hire them in a heartbeat. Welcome to the Top Contractor Podcast, the show that highlights the remarkable individuals who are shaping the construction industry and pushing its boundaries with engaging interviews, expert discussions, and real-world stories. I'm Bill Reiman, your broker builder, and today I'm here with my temporary co-host, Tre Tipton. How you doing, Tre?
Man, I'm blessed. I'm too blessed to stress, man. I'm so thankful to be here today, man. Thank you for having me.
No, man, I'm glad to have you. You're filling in for Nate. Nate is currently, unfortunately, sick. He is not able to join us this week, but we had to get an episode in, so Tre's filling in for us. I'm excited about it, man. Today we are talking community, the importance of community, because you guys obviously, unfortunately, I couldn't be there this upcoming, or you're starting today, but you got an event going on up there at the headquarters. So talk a little
Yes,
bit about
sir.
that, man.
Yeah, so right now we have everybody coming in, man, that is a part of TCS, being able to come in, see what we're doing, see on how we can help you guys build as well. And that's the most important part about building this community is this community is full of education, right? It's not just some place where you come and just hang out and chill with your friends. Like, this is a space where entrepreneurs and businessmen alike and women alike take the time to help each other out, right? Give to give and love to love. So it's really cool to be a part of this. It's really cool to see everybody come in. We got a little circuit going on here coming up on Friday where we're sending people through the circuit, podcast, everything in between. So it's going to be a good time, Bill. I wish you was here, man.
Yeah, man. Next one for sure. Obviously, you guys are coming to my town. You're coming to Naples here in January, so I'm not gonna miss that one. Bringing my whole team to that event too, for sure. But yeah, unfortunately can't be there. But fortunately, for other positive reasons, have a newborn.
100%.
Hard to leave the little guy right now and leave my wife tending to him. So she needs help. He's a lot of work at this phase. Eat, sleep, poop, all the fun stuff, and barely get any sleep. But hey, man, it's a blessing for sure, and gonna miss y'all this weekend. But we'll talk a little bit about what you guys got going on there. But the importance, I want to get into the importance of community. I mean, I've been a part of Top Contractor School, I think going on 3 years now, something like that, man. It's been a while. And it's been a huge thing to my personal success. Brian's been a huge mentor, friend, coach to me, and obviously I've gained a lot of friendships through the community. You and I met each other last year and formed a relationship as well. Connected because we're past college football players too, and it's just,
Yes,
man,
sir.
there's
Yes, sir.
so much in this community, and it has so much to offer too. So I wanted to tap in on kind of you know, the aspects of what are we getting out of it too. And one thing I wanted to start with, and you kind of just brushed on it too, is the support and the mentorship side of it too. I mean, that's huge too, because a lot of people are out there searching. There's a lot of contractors out there right now that, they're lost. They don't have a place
Right.
to go. They got a lot of questions. They don't have answers. Let's talk a little bit about the support, the mentorship side of it. What's your perspective on that?
Man, I think it's accountability more than anything, Bill.
Yep.
I was talking to the Bruisies yesterday, man, and they're like, as you come into this culture and this group and this community, you see that you don't want to feel left out, right? Like, if you see people moving forward and moving the needle, you want to be a part of that within your own company. You know what I mean? So when you see stuff like that, especially as a young entrepreneur myself, like, it's almost like inspirational in a way, right? Because you see where people are in the stages of their life. Like, for example, not everybody's a Bill Reiman, but not everybody's a Brian Hess. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's certain levels and degrees of in which everybody is, and it's cool to see because you can really get help on every level. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody's at they're getting into their stride, they're starting to actually take a big stride in their company, you can get with that person. If you're somebody that is genuinely new and you're trying to really build the company from the ground up, you can also get with people like that. So it's cool to see. It's cool to be a part of, man. And I'm not a contractor by construction, but I'm a contractor by speaking, right? So with that said, man, it's cool to be able to be a part of a community of people who genuinely love each other, yo. And it's crazy because none of y'all are like close together. Like you're in Naples, Brian's in Pittsburgh, Nate's somewhere on the West Coast. You know what I mean? You got the call the Keith Calloway and all those people, man. They're all in different areas, bro. It's really cool, man. So I gotta commend you guys for starting something so cool. It's really nice to see.
Well, that goes into the community aspect of it too, like you said, and like everybody's a phone call away. Like I called Brian last week just to talk about something about, you know, having a new baby, what he went through, because obviously, as you know, he's got like 4 kids. That guy's got a football team, man, basically.
You about to have
5 on the
5,
way.
man.
Yeah, he's about to have 5. So but I was asking him some advice too. I mean, stuff like that, man, personal stuff. We connect on that level too. You know, I can reach out to like Keith Calloway and talk about certain things, or Nate, or you know, Daniel Wright, Daniel Good. So it's just the community is so tight. And another thing, like you said, it's like everybody's at that certain level. They're at a different level, and everybody can kind of ask each other, you know, those questions of how they got to that next stage, how they got to that next level. It's like with me, you know, I see Brian Hess, I'm chasing Brian, and Brian's actually
Right.
walking the walk. He doesn't just talk to talk. And there's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of communities out there that are just talk too. I mean, it's
Come
just
on.
there was nothing. They don't have the background, you know, they didn't do the things that, you know, you've seen with Brian Hess and what he's doing too. He's building this massive company too. And it's like, I see that. I want to chase after that. It makes me strive. I'm like, okay, if Brian can do that, I can do that too. What do I need to implement? And he's done it, so he can coach it and teach you how to implement it, what worked too, right?
Right. And that's the
So
one thing you got to see, man. It's cool to see that you said that because you're very coachable, Bill. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that, but you're very coachable. And
appreciate
for
that.
those of you, for those of you who don't know what that means, is that you're willing to listen. That means that you're willing to learn, and that
Mhm.
is huge, bro. That's something that you see in this community that is beautiful. That none of y'all have egos, and if you do have egos, you guys kill the ego to learn more. I talked about this on Brian's podcast, man. It's beautiful to see you guys actually come in and kill the ego, and then on top of that, let me learn so I can help out my guys. That makes you a great leader because you're not just trying to say like my way's the highway. You know that you got to improve to be able to help improve your guys on your team. Hey, Bill, that makes you a captain, my boy. That's Tom Brady in the clutch right there. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate and commend you for that, Bill. That takes a lot.
No, man, I appreciate it too, coming from you. And it literally is, man. It's all about learning. It's all about opening up, dropping ego too. And it's not a room full of egos, man. These guys, everybody that's in there, they all want to learn. They all see what everybody's doing and the success everybody's having. And it's like, how do I get there? You know, what can I do? And that's where
Right.
that community, the group comes together. Every week we have those conversations on different topics that somebody is struggling with. Somebody's going through it, man, and it's like, and let's just talk about it. Or some, if I've had multiple phone calls with guys in this group about certain things like hiring and different things, and how my approach might be different than somebody else's too, but it might work better. So there's all these, because I run, you know, my company is different than Brian's company, or some of these other companies out there too. I subcontract a lot. Brian subcontracts, but there's other guys that have a ton of employees. I don't. I have 7, you know. So it's just, it's everybody kind of has different perspectives within the group. That's the great part about it. But also going into another level of it too is the personal growth side. It's not just
Ooh.
about teaching, you know, people how to run a business and their construction business. It's about growing, you know, the personal growth aspect of it, getting better, treating yourself better, treating your spouse better, you know, getting kind of your mental state right within the household, so you can operate at a full 100% level outside in your business too. So go into that a little bit, the personal growth side that you've seen.
Oh man, the personal growth side on my side, man, has been more so the fact that you have no choice to be elite in this type of circumstance. You know what I mean? Like how you show up has to matter to you. Because if it doesn't matter, you won't survive. Right. That's the one thing I could tell you about construction that I've learned from you guys and been able to be a part is because you guys help each other and love each other so much, it's beautiful to see, but it's also understood that this is a dog eat dog world. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So like you got to be careful on who you eating with. And the one thing that I noticed is that you guys you're not selfish. You know what I mean? At some point in time, you have to be selfish to be selfless, but you
Oh,
guys are not selfish with knowledge. You're not selfish with uh opportunity, ideas, and all the above, right? You said that you have 7 guys, but you also sub out a lot of work. I put money that you probably subbed out some work to some guys that you might have known through TCS and or some guys you might have met through a member through TCS. You know what I'm saying? And that right there is like, okay, I got to show up. You know what I mean? Like I can't come to work, um, as I like to say, half-assed. You know
yeah.
what I mean? You can't show up and be, I don't feel like doing it today. It's just not going to work. Now, Bill, me and you both play sports. You do that at a high level in the sports realm, you end up getting hurt, right? Or you get
Yeah.
somebody else hurt. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So with that said, man, I bring that into the workspace. I bring that into my lifestyle. Is like, if you don't show up, it doesn't matter how bad it is. The one thing that I learned very quickly here, Bill, is the fact that, yeah, you might be tired, right? And you might be really, 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 really tired. Like you about to go to sleep right now type tired. But that's not going to change the fact that little Bill still got to eat.
Yep.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
not going to change the fact that my family still is hungry at night. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you could be tired, but you only could be tired for so long. And that's something that I've learned here consistently. I've known it my life, but to learn that consistently, to have it in front of you consistently, it builds a different breed in you. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like it builds the lion character out of you. Like there's times where I get in the rooms nowadays and I don't even look at the man for the money he has. I look at the man for the man that he is. I look at the woman for the woman that she is. You see the difference? Like before, I'd have been extremely impressed by somebody having X amount of money. You know what I'm saying? Now, getting in these rooms, seeing these men, seeing these women, and seeing these people, I'm like, these are human beings trying to figure it out just like you, right? The only difference is they showed up every day, every time, right on time. Every day, every time, right on time.
Yeah.
And that's something that I feel like I've learned, I've taken away from being a part of this group, man. It's been special. It's been very special for me.
In going into that, what you just said though too is you surround yourself with the winner. You know, you surround yourself with winners, you're
Well,
going to become a winner too. You see people that are going above and beyond. They're doing the things that they need to do. They're executing. They're coming in early. They're going home late. They're taking out the trash when nobody else is taking out the trash. They're doing the little, they're picking up trash, cleaning the toilet seats, whatever you can imagine. That's going to drive people. That's what's going to drive people within your company. Like with myself too, like Brian is an example of that too. Brian just posted it yesterday. He couldn't sleep. He went into the office early, couldn't even turn the lights on because you guys got computerized lights or whatever. I guess he just needed to ask Alexa. But 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 it's just seeing that too, him going in, getting work done, and he was talking about, people started showing up. He's got papers, financial papers all over his desk. He's just putting in the work too. And he probably left super late that day too, after barely getting any sleep the night before. But instead of just staying home and kind of twiddling his thumbs, walking around his house, trying to, just kick his feet up, watching TV, whatever, he's like, you know what, I'm going to go put in some work today too. It's no different than like you with football coaching or going to the gym, working out, fitness, everything. You are basically what people see on a daily basis. And if you're just some lazy slob that doesn't care and just gets by, that's what the rest of your company is going to be. That's what the rest
come
of the
on.
people you surround yourself is going to be too. That's what the people at home are going to see, and that's what they're going to be too. It's like, and it resonates like with me too. I see it now that I just had a son. I'm like, I will never get myself out of shape. I got a home gym coming now, so he can see me working out. I want him to
Yes,
see that
sir.
because I remember seeing my dad doing that growing up. I remember it to this day as a little kid. I'd go in there and I'd start trying to lift weights and do stuff too because my dad would be doing it.
Right.
Kids are sponges. Everything is, and that kind of resonates with as far as like adults and stuff like that too. Brian posted a video. You probably saw this too. The Miami Dolphins coach, he was talking about like raising a kid and how that resonates with his coaching too. Telling
100%.
Tua he's proud of him, stuff like that. It all resonates, but like with him doing what he's doing and being an impact on those players, it goes a long way. And that's the way it goes within your office, your work, your home life, everything, man. So a lot of what you said was spot on for sure.
And I appreciate that, Bill. And something I want to ask you as well, man, because you're a business owner, right? And on top of being a business owner, you're part of a family business, correct?
Yep.
So with that said, like explain that experience growing up in a family business, getting the chance to see on what it meant to be not only a business owner, but an entrepreneur, right? Because your dad's the one who started the company originally, right? Or was it
Yep.
was
Yep.
I right on that one?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
explain that, man. You got the chance to watch dad grow, and your son's gonna get the chance to watch dad grow. You know what I mean? We talked about this the other day, growing through insecurity, right? Being a father to teach your child on how to get through the fact that you're gonna have tough days. You're gonna have tough people come around you too. You know what I mean? So speak on that a little bit. Tell me what that was like for you growing up and watching that.
It was huge to me, man. Like I joke around. I say the construction business was love hate. I hated it as a kid, but I was always. I mean, I really did. But my dad would always wake me up early. You know, like even after football practice. I was actually talking to a buddy I played high school football with at the gym yesterday about it. I was like, and we are talking about kids these days and stuff like that. His kids. I just said we are talking about, and we are getting into that and. I was like, remember how I always used to have to leave like right after practice and go to work? He's like, yeah, man, it shows. It shows in how you turned out. And I was like, yeah, I appreciate that, man. He's like, oh, I remember that. He goes, because, you know, everybody else would kind of go do their thing and you'd always have to go to a construction site, start working. And it just, that whole thing, like that, my dad raising me that way gave me an appreciation for the business more. My
Mhm.
brother too, to this day, like we appreciate it because there's a lot of second generation owners, a lot of third generation owners, there's a lot of second generation owners. I forget the rate of failure on a family business, but it's high, very high. Because they don't have that you know, they get it handed to them basically.
Right.
And we've never had that to this day. I mean, it's been tough too with the family dynamics and stuff like that, but it's given us a huge respect for it growing up. My dad was always a worker. He was always a hard worker. I saw it as a kid. You know, he did show up. I mean, he showed up when he had to show up. That was the thing, like with football games, stuff like that. He was there. But other than that, he was working. You know, he was busting his ass. He was doing the things he had to do to provide for three kids too. And I saw the
Man.
come up. I saw the come up of my dad as a kid. You know, like building his own house from scratch with his bare hands to selling that house, making some money, going to the next one, and then building up from there and moving to Florida and then building that house as, you know, business started getting better as he built the business up too. So seeing those dynamics as a kid and also working within it kind of made
Yeah.
me realize what I need to do too. And my dad never handed me anything. He always, to this day, my dad still hasn't. I always had to work for what I wanted, bro. I wanted an Xbox or a PlayStation or whatever. He's like, go out, you know, all right, I got stuff for you to do. Go outside, dig a ditch over there, blah, blah. It was just random stuff, but it was hard too. Like
Right.
it was stuff
Right.
that, there was stuff, bro, that didn't need to be done that he would make me
Right.
do. And I've talked about like, there was concrete cinder block on one side of the job. The concrete guys, I back then I didn't know this, but today I know this. The concrete guys put it in a certain area for a reason. They want it there because it's closer to where they got to put it. He would make me
Right.
move all that stack of block one by one across the whole entire job site and stack it over on the other side.
Nah, Bill. I
Yeah,
ain't going,
just
Bill.
and he'd say you want to. He goes, you want to be strong. You want to play football. This will make you strong. Go do that because it has to be over there. Stuff like that. That's how my old man was. But looking back to answer your question, it gave me the appreciation. It put us where we are. I mean, we're probably the top builder in our specific area right now. We're building bigger houses than we ever have before, too. And I'm building the company bigger than it's ever been before, too. And when my dad was there, it was 4 people. Now we're to 7. It probably soon to be 8. And we just keep building, man. That's the thing. And we're expanding out in different territories and doing even bigger houses and so on. So it was good. It was good. A lot of what I went through, and there's a lot more to it, but yeah, I can go on for hours on that one, but it was a blessing.
Man,
So
and I want to challenge you, Bill, bro, because that's a beautiful story, bro. But you gotta tell your father's story at some point in time, and also to tell
yeah,
your own story, or however that looks, man. Because that sounds like a beautiful thing to watch your dad go from nothing to something is huge, man.
yeah,
Could I let you know as a son, like, okay, this is what it takes to get to where I want to be. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And he quickly instilled in you, and I could see it, bro, just because of the hard work that you see on your Instagram and whatnot. I be seeing your houses now. Give me about 10 to 20 more years, I'll call you. Yeah, I mean, hopefully
No
sooner than
doubt,
that.
man. I
But
got no doubt. We'll build one for sure.
hopefully sooner than that. But it's cool to see that, because I feel like if you tell your story and tell your father's story, it's gonna give your son something to go off of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they say easy times make soft men and hard times make strong men. And your dad made it hard on you to make you strong. And it's proven itself, because now look at the business. You
Yeah.
done double what your dad was doing tenfold. Like,
Yeah.
he thought he was doing something, but now I gotta see what Bill does for little Billy. I gotta see what the next move is. What's the next level? So like
Yeah.
that's good to see, bro. Now now that you've learned that from your father, right? You've learned these things, you've gotten these things. What do you want to teach your son? Like, I'm curious, because that's my goal, Bill. Like, out of all things, like making money, cool. You know what I mean? Winning awards, cool. But I think the dopest thing in this entire planning is being a dad.
Yeah.
And I think you can agree. So, like, tell
Oh
me
yeah.
about what you're hoping to teach your son.
I want to. I mean, this is something actually I think about quite often too. I mean, he's so little now, and I know there's a stage where they become sponges too, and it's just they literally react and watch every single thing you do. So that goes back to living your life as your best self, personal excellence, doing things like having him because visually see you as a man and what a man should be. That's like what I'd love to teach him, what a man should be too. A
Mm,
man should be respectful to his wife. A man should treat his
come
wife
on.
like a queen. I want him to see me, giving his mom gifts and taking care of her and coming home and loving her,
Okay,
stuff like
Bill.
that.
I
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah, but see, stuff like that, because there's not a lot of dads that do that, man. Because or there is a lot of dads that do that, but there's some dads that don't. I think they come home, they're tired, they just want to kick back. They were working all day, this and that, and they just want to kick their feet up, turn on the TV, and then the kid's sitting there, and they give the kid the iPad and stuff like that. I think that's where a lot of the
Dang.
struggle and stuff with kids these days too. And I talk to a lot of friends that have had kids that are really good dads too, and I've gotten kind of the since I'm the last sibling, my brother and my sister both have kids. I've gotten to see how they raise their kids too, kind of the different things they've done too. And there's stuff that I'd agree with, stuff that I do differently too. And then I've been around a lot of group of really good entrepreneur guys and like Brian too, and watching what he does and watching what some of these other guys are doing too. And I think the very important thing with raising a son is just always doing the right thing. Like I said, working out, showing them that working out's a good thing, staying in shape, top physical condition, being respectful to, his mother, stuff like that. Spending time with him, not just putting an iPad in front of his face, and actually like watching sports with him too, watching football with him, teaching him those kind of things, telling him he's going to be a quarterback and he shouldn't play defense because he'll end up like his dad with 2 shoulder surgeries. Because quarterbacks can't really get touched these days.
Yeah.
But
Another story, another story.
yeah, another story. But anyway, it's just stuff like that, man. I'm constantly thinking about it as a dad now. Like he's so little right now, but I know everybody says don't blink, because it's like you blink and then it's like they're one, then it's like they're five, and then they're running around. It's just crazy. But I want to take them to places, want to take them, just do stuff with him because there's a lot of stuff I've seen with dads. I'm very visual when I go to restaurants, stuff like that. I see the parents sitting across from each other on their phones and the kids are on iPads. And I'm just like, come on, man, be present, be present in the
Nah,
kid's
for
life.
real.
That's the thing.
I
So, I
love
mean,
that, Bill.
overall, to answer your question, just be present as a father more, just more than what I've seen too. And I think like waiting as long as I have, I'm 37 now, like I've gotten to see what not you shouldn't be doing,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So yeah, man, hopefully that answered your question a little bit on that.
No, 100%, man. And something that I think is necessary for all men, bro, is to have accountability partners,
Yeah.
in every which way. Because like there's times, bro, I have something with the guys in the studio that we do. Because we all get busy, and it's common where, especially when you're doing business, that people will look at their phone real quick to see if it's a quick business mail. And one of the things that we talk about is talking about responsibility to the person in front of you. You know what I mean? Like the person in front of you just has to matter as much as the person that you are. So, for example, right now, Bill, if you and I are sitting here talking and you see me on my phone, I would expect you to be like, yo, is it that deep or is it deep? Because if it's deep and you got to handle it, then handle it. But if not, then I would appreciate the respect of your time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the reason why I asked that. And the reason why we talk like that is because accountability has to matter. The one thing that I find, because you talk about being a man, correct? Which is something
Yeah.
I find very, very important in this day and age, is that nowadays people are finding it less okay to be a man. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm not the type
No,
to get it. I
I
just
don't get
can't
it
get
either. I don't get it either.
it. I really don't get it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and I love the fact that your goals are is to teach your son to be a man, not the what they want you to be these days, a
No.
real life man, and that is a blessing in itself, man. Because there's not many guys like that anymore. So I would say like continue to not only do that, but like find people that hold you accountable as well. I know you have Brian, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, but like if there's a group of people that you're like, because right now I look up to you. I ain't gonna lie, Bill. I look up to you in a lot of different ways. You
Appreciate
handle
that.
things very, very well. Very, very well, man. So giving your kudos, giving you your flowers, but man, that accountability part and that accountability, man, is important. That's why I love TCS. That's why I love what you guys do, is because if we are not holding each other accountable, this won't work.
Yeah, and it's going off of what you just said too. If I'm not a father to my son, he's gonna go find somebody else that's gonna try and be a father. And it could be the
Ooh.
wrong person too.
Say
You
that
know,
again, Bill. Bill, say that again. We gotta clip that one. We gotta
I
clip
mean, if
that
I'm
one,
not a
Bill.
good
We gotta
father, if I'm not a father, a good father to my son, he's gonna go find somebody else, and that's gonna be a father. That's the thing. It's just there. Somebody else is. That's what, especially young men, too. They go and search for something. If the father's absent, the father's not there, the father is there but not present, they're gonna go find somebody else, and that could be a negative thing, and somebody else can turn your kid in a direction that they shouldn't be going too. That's why fathers need to step up and be fathers. That's the thing. And a lot of them right now, it's just there's so many distractions in the world. They're doing different things. They get home, they're tired, like I said, but it's like you got to be present, man. You got to be present, and that's all I think about with this kid. As I'm like, I got to be present in his life. And I talk to customers that I build houses for, and they give me pointers and stuff too. And they're like, one of my clients, she was like, one thing with my kids is we hang out with them. They're older now. They love to be around us, but I think it's how we parented them. She goes, my husband was always home for dinner. No matter what, he made time. If he had meetings, that was his time. He said, nope, we're putting the meeting somewhere else because I want to eat with my kids. So he was present. And she goes, and we weren't just sitting at the table on our phones or anything. There was no phones, nothing. It was a family discussion. Everybody was there. We were all present. So it's just being present, man. And that goes into what you were just saying too. Everybody needs some kind of accountability in their lives and business. And that's what these groups are about too. Keeping you accountable. I'm in other groups too. I've been in Arte Syndicate. It's a larger group. This one's a little more tight niche too, and I've been other ones like Warriors for Christ, stuff like that. And those guys are amazing in that group. We all keep each other on the right level with God too, and in the right walk and stuff like that. But accountability is huge, man. Goes a long way. Helps keep you driven, helps keep you motivated, helps to keep you going, because we all as entrepreneurs, we feel if you're alone as an entrepreneur, man, you're alone. Like, and everybody in entrepreneurship, they have that feeling where they're just alone. They have nobody. We're a different breed. We're a different breed of people. That's why we're entrepreneurs. It's a hard thing to
Yeah.
do, man. It's a
Yeah.
hard thing to do. You get kicked, and you know what, every single day, bro. It's like, but when you got
Literally.
those people to lift you up and be like, hey, man, it's going to be okay. Here's what I did. Or here's what maybe you should try doing. Or here's how I got my way out of this situation. That's what's
Right.
going to take you to that next level and keep you going mentally too. Cause it's draining, man. It's draining. And to do it alone, God bless you.
Oh, now, Bill. Come on now, Bill. I ain't trying to do it alone. I tell you
No,
that right now.
no, man.
I tell you
No.
that because it's cool to see though, Bill. Like, and you see your stuff, man. I watch you on social media. The community that you're building around people who are builders, right? In your community as well as outside of the Florida area, right? That is something that's inspirational, man. How important is it for you to showcase exactly who you are to your community through your social media. I'm curious to see on how you feel about this.
Social media is the big. I mean, I got a bunch of customers, clients that follow me on social media, and they've seen that's who I truly am. I mean, a lot of people play these different roles. I see it, man. I can read right through people on social media. They play these different roles of who they truly aren't as a person. I mean, just be you. That's what people want to see. And the benefit of just being you on social media is that, you know, people see who you are. If they don't like you, they're not going to waste your time. Because if you don't fit with somebody too, I've talked about this in the past, you don't fit with somebody, they see you on social media and they're like, yeah, that's not my cup of tea. It's going to save you a lot of time too, because time is money. Time is our most valuable thing. And that's one of the benefits that social media has for us too. But there's so much fakeness on social media, people renting Lambos, trying to play the big role. Everybody's starting to see through that kind of stuff now. I think the real people are starting to stand out more, like yourself,
Yeah.
Brian Hess, these people that are just themselves, man,
Right.
talking about life, talking about what their thoughts are and giving it and just putting it out there for the world to see, instead of being like, buy my next program for $97, blah, blah, blah. Like
You know
that
what we
stuff
call them,
just,
Bill? You know what we call those guys
what?
and girls out there? We call them Barbie and Ken dolls. That's what we call them. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Whole lot of action figures. That's what we call that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, man. There you go. It's there's a lot of them out there, unfortunately, but I think people are getting smarter. They're starting to see through it, like, and hopefully more and more people start just seeing reality and the true people on social media, because there's a lot of us just trying to do good business, be good people, give as much information as possible. That's another thing with it. Give. I come from back. My dad was old school. He didn't want to give no information. He's like, don't tell anybody our secrets. That's it. This and that. I'm opposite, man. You can go on my old podcast that I did. I had 200 episodes of telling you exactly how we run our business. And it's like, but there's the thing. There's one Bill Reiman. That's the
Come
thing.
on now.
I can give away all the information, but nobody's me. So it's
Because
just
you
like,
execute, baby. Talk
yeah.
that
And
stuff, Bill. You execute, baby.
that's the thing, man. That's the thing. It's just like, people are afraid to give information and help other people. But in the end, man, people work with you because they want to work with you. That's the thing. They
Mm.
like you. They like your personality. They like who you are. And social media shows all that too. And I've gotten a lot of work off social media and deals done. So,
That's huge, bro. I feel like a lot of people talk about they're either on one side of the spectrum or the other, right? Either they're using social media as a tool or they're using social media as a lifestyle.
yep.
Now, you got to be very clear on what side of the bridge you're on, okay? Because if you're using it as a tool, you're probably using it for the right reasons. You're making a lot of money, you're doing the fun stuff, right? But if you're using it as a lifestyle, it becomes something that consumes you, right? And what you do some of the time becomes what you do all the time, and what you do
Yep.
consistently becomes an addiction. So with that, like you see people get addicted. I'm addicted myself, bro. There's times where I gotta take hiatus. Like, yo, put my phone away, put it down. I don't want to look at it. Like I'm good. You know what I mean? And that's just as important as well, right? We talk about building community, but I want my real friends. I don't want my feel good friends, as Brian would say, right? I
Yeah.
want the people who can sit down and have a conversation with me and put their phone away. Because
Mhm.
nowadays it feels weird to be present. That sounds crazy saying that out loud, right? It sounds a little crazy, but it's me being honest. You remember being a kid, right, where you could notice the trees because you're outside playing all day.
Yeah.
Nowadays, because we're working so much, we're in our phones so much, there's days that go by and I'm like, where was I today? Like, where's some of the spaces that I was in? You know what I
Oh, yeah.
mean?
Flies by, man. Yeah.
It flies by. And now that you have a child, man, I guarantee those memories are going to start coming to you left and right. And I guarantee you'll probably put your phone down way more than you ever have in your
Oh,
entire
I have
life.
been. Yeah, man. It's like you just said, being present as much as possible too. And I've done that with business too, man. Like I wear one of these things. I want to get rid of this thing because this thing's the most annoying thing. It's sorry, Apple, but when you're in a meeting and this thing's vibrating and stuff like that, I've caught myself checking, looking at it, and the
Just
customer right
like,
away is like, oh, you need to go? No, this stupid watch, blah, blah, blah. But I've gotten better with that where I ignore it and stuff like that. Keep my phone. I'm always present. That's the thing with meetings. My phone's always in my pocket, can ring all at once. My phone's always on silent. I never have the ringer on. But I'm always present no matter what, too. And that's in life, business, anything. Like you and I are having a conversation. You know how rude that is to pull out your phone and start checking your phone? That just tells somebody right there that you're not interested in what you're talking about with them too. You know,
And I'm
that,
accountable for that. I've done it a couple times, Bill. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be better.
yeah. Well, you get better with it over time too, because I'm guilty of it too, man. I pulled out my phone like thinking it's just normal, not even thinking, but it is you kind of toning out from the conversation. I've done it with my wife, like, and not even realizing it because somebody was texting me and I'm looking at that. She's talking. She's like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, put your, and even at
Mm,
dinner, I've made it a point, like when we go out to dinner, be present, keep the phone in your pocket, don't pull it out. Somebody's texting you, pull it out when you're walking out the restaurant. Same with
come on.
meetings, be present. So that's what I've been trying to do more and more too. We're all guilty of what we just talked about, pulling out our phones, having our phones in front of us. But even with like community, going back to our main discussion here, like when you get involved with these communities, start talking to people, keep your phone in your pocket, be present, you're going to learn something. That's the thing. You're going to get
Guaranteed.
something out of it. You're always going to get something out of it from somebody that you talk to. There's going to be one person in that room that can change your life, change your business for sure. And that's what
Mm.
TCS is about too. And these meetups that like you guys are having today are huge too, being in person, connecting in person. I'm a big in person guy, man. I mean, we got Zoom, we got all these different things too, but being in person, there's a whole nother level to it. And obviously they're having an event in January. I'll be there here in Naples. So right up the road from me. It's great. It's just right up the road,
It
man.
makes life easy.
Don't have to
Makes
fly,
life real
don't have
easy,
to
Bill.
do anything, man. Can go home, it's like check on my dogs, but it's great. I'm looking forward to it for sure.
I'm definitely excited. But I've only been in Naples a couple times. Last time I was in Naples, I was there with a friend, Jeff George Jr. His dad is Jeff George Sr. Played in the NFL for a little bit,
Okay.
and it's pretty down there in Naples, man. Very pretty down there. I definitely could say it's really relaxed. It's not too crazy down there. I've
Quiet.
also been to Miami, Bill. I've also been to Miami. Okay, so two
Polar
sides of the
opposite.
spectrum.
Polar
So
opposite.
I was definitely looking forward to being in Naples, get some peace, but also be able to have some fun. We got some cool things for you guys coming up on the TCS, you know what I'm saying? Meet us, but also the TCS retreat. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun, man. But I also want to know, Bill, how have you, because you're an athlete, right? And you were a stud at one point. It was what we all used to say. I was a stud back in high school or back in my day, right? But how have you translated your athletic mindset over into business? I'm curious because I know there's a lot of athletes that are in this realm now, right? Either they were athletes in high school, college, professionally, but they all find their way to construction. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about how you've translated that.
I think it's the discipline, man.
Mm,
And being athletics is what it's the number one thing for as a male too. I mean, even as a female, it shows you discipline. You got to be there at a certain time. You got to show up. You got to perform. You got to, if you don't perform, you don't show up, you're not going to play.
mm,
You're going to ride the pine, man. You're going to ride the bench. You're not, and that's why we play sports too. But also it gives you a sense of camaraderie, community, team too kind of comes into it, that factor of everything as well, like having a team, being surrounded by people and working together too, because I mean in football, man, you got to work with everybody. That's the thing. One person messes up, you're connected. One thing goes wrong, everything goes wrong, right? Offense and defense too. Somebody misses something, misses a tackle, or the guy's off, scores a touchdown. On offense, a lineman misses a block, there goes your running back, or somebody misses another chip or anything, man. Just there's a million different things you and I can say with football and how it relates to that. But it really on the discipline side of things, like as a younger man growing up too, and being a little hellion. I met up with my old high school coach a few weeks ago. I think it was about a month ago, and we were just talking about like just different things. I mean, and his guidance, man, like it just resonates. It sticks out to me more than ever. Too, he was a big influence on my life, kept me straight because without him, without football, I probably would have went down a pretty dark path. I was a fighter. I always liked to fight. I always liked to, stuff like, oh
Bill, you
yeah,
be using
yeah.
these, Bill. You be using
Oh
these.
yeah, I got a scar on my hand from one of them being an idiot too. I mean, I got in a fight, bro. it was after a prom night over a chick. I beat up this dude, but I ended up breaking my hand like an idiot doing it. And then I walked in. I had a recruiter the next
Oh,
that Monday.
Bill.
I was meeting that recruiter. I walked in. I remember my coach's face, too. He's just dropped. And it was to a pretty good school, D1. And right when I walked in, the recruiter was like, he gets taken back. He's like, "What the hell?" And then the coach was like, "What happened? What happened?" I was like, "Talk about it." And let's talk about it. He's like, "No, come here, come here." And so he takes me outside. Yeah. So I mean, but a lot of that life lessons, stuff like that, he was a part of that. He was a great coach. That's why him and I he'll call me randomly here and there, checking on me, checking on the family, pray over me too, which is unbelievable.
Huge,
To wrap
huge.
up our conversation, like let me say a prayer for you. Just a really good person, man. And but yeah, to answer your question, man, just a lot of sports give you a lot of things. I'm definitely going to push my son to play sports because there's the connection. There's so many different levels of things that help you with life, that have gotten me to where I am. I'd hire if I found out somebody played football in the past or any other athlete, they were an athlete in the past for a long time, I'd hire them in a heartbeat because they're going to have that discipline. That's the
Right.
thing. That stands out on a resume to me, as like
Mm,
former athlete or former college athlete, you're getting a disciplined person for sure right there.
100%.
So to answer your question.
I like that, Bill. And that's something else that we were talking about in a sense of community, because to me, it takes a community or a village to raise a child, right? So, like,
Yeah.
even the people that your child's going to be around, I know that right? That although I am raising my child, there's other factors that are going to come into me raising my child, right? There's going to be outside or outliers that are outside of me that will also help raise my child. So, even in terms of, in my head, Bill, this is kind of how I see it as a dad. Like, I'm low key taking my son's head football coach into a recruiting process. I gotta see what type of guy he is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's just kind of how I'm treating it. Like, I can't even have certain friends around my child because I don't want to run the risk that my son becomes something like you. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's the type of stuff. When you talk about community, man, I feel like my community, or my tribe, as I like to call it, I love to call it tribe just because I believe that we're in this together, so we might as well do it forever, right? So my tribe, right, it comes down to is, how are you not only benefiting me, but how are you going to benefit the people that I bring to you? Right? Like, can I trust my child with you? Can I trust that you're going to do the right things? Bill, I think I could trust you to do the right things, Bill. I didn't know you were a boxer, but now that I know that, I know that we could also go to war together. So I'd like to hear that. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, man, that is huge, right? Because you want to make sure that, okay, like, is my son going over to my brother's house? And if he goes to my brother's house, what is he coming back doing? You know what I mean? Like, so that's the type of stuff, man. When you talk about community, bro, I find it very special because, like, that tribe has to be so strong in order for our children, for our future, to be strong in the future, right? Because again, as much as we want to teach, as much as we want to give, as father to son, son to father, however you may see it, man, it can be difficult because just like you probably didn't listen to your dad all the time. You probably listen to your coach sometimes before your dad.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. And I look back
Let's be
too.
honest.
I'm like, some of the stuff my parents said, man, it would have saved me a lot of grief if I would have just listened to them too. But that's kids, man. We're rebellious. We want to do our own thing. We figure it out, but life takes you, and you figure it out. But also surrounding yourself with the right people, like you just said, surround yourself with people that are shooting for the moon. They're higher level than you. It's going to change you. I mean, the Bible even talks about that. The
Come on.
Bible even talks
Come
about,
on.
surrounding yourself with good people. That's what's going to escalate you to, the riches and everything that God's going to give you too, because you surround yourself with people that are lower than you, lazy, don't want to do anything, just kind of fly by with life, would just rather go home, have a drink, or have a few drinks, or go to the bar, blah, blah, blah. That's who you're going to become. You become,
Come
and
on.
everybody says that, you become the four people you most surround yourself with. That's the thing. So I'm looking for four that are high achievers, high level. That's who I want to be talking to every damn day, man, because like that's what's
I
going to
love
keep
that.
me going too, or even 10 people, 20 people. I mean, even 100 people, man. If you can get around 100 people that are high achievers, you know you're going to be making you're going to be doing really well. So it's just that's and goes back to what I talked about with my son, man. If he sees I'm a high achiever, if he sees that I'm putting in the work, he sees that dad's doing the things that most people don't, that's what he's going to want to do too. That's the way it is, man. Kids are sponges. If he sees me on my ass on the couch every night, that's what he's gonna do. He's probably gonna end up drinking. He's probably gonna end up smoking. He's probably gonna end up just chilling, probably on the iPad or video games every single day. Nothing against video games. Those guys, there's some guys making a lot of money out there doing that these days. But if I'm overachieving, I'm doing the things that I'm doing to get ahead and be the best version of myself. My son's going to end up doing that too. I have no doubt. There's going to be some bumps along the road. Nothing's perfect. I had a lot of my bumps, man. You had your bumps too, but you got to where you were. Yeah. Yeah. You got to where you were because you've surrounded yourself with good people. You had your coaches, you had your teammates, man. You saw those people excel, made you want to excel too. And now you're surrounding yourself with even more great people too. And that's what's going to skyrocket you, man. And I got no doubt that's going to happen with you too. Cause I mean, just the way you are, your personality, your voice, everything you got going, bro, it's going to go a long way for sure.
I appreciate that, Bill, for real, man. I want to say this, man. I noticed this about TCS. TCS is our locker room. You know what I was talking about, Bill? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? You remember being back in the locker room talking about shit you ain't had no business talking about?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I could honestly say, man, TCS has become our locker room, man, where we get a chance to just genuinely be ourselves. Like it's not, I don't gotta act like boss today. I don't gotta act like, you know what I mean? I don't gotta just play leader today. Today I get the chance just to be me in the locker room, talking, having a good time. And then you got people like Wire Monkey who's off the wall. We had teammates like that too, right? We had many. So definitely it's hilarious that we're talking about community and we're talking about sports and we talk about the locker room, man. It's such a big thing. So let's continue to build. Let's continue to do this, man. I'm thankful to be a part of the TCS podcast, Bill. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for having me.
This was awesome, bro. I'm glad we had you on. You'll definitely be on again for sure. Have to have Nate join us for one of them too. Obviously.
For sure.
And,
for sure.
Nah, man, I appreciate you today. This was great. A lot of great info. Everybody out there too, man. Just if you're looking for a community, check out TCS. Great group of guys out there. If you're listening to this too, if you want to surround yourself with high achievers that are actually walking the walk like we talked about, that's the group to be in, be a part of too. So nah, man, appreciate you today.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate you for having me, man. And again, this is cool, man. This is the first time I was on TCS podcast, man. So this is a great opportunity.
One of many, man. One of many. But with that being said, guys, like, share, comment, subscribe, 5-star review on iTunes goes a long way because that's what this podcast deserves. 5 stars, and we will see you guys on the next episode.